See, it seems like people don't understand what I said in my last video. Some persons were referring me to some cameras. You see, one of the greatest mistakes I would say Canon made was to produce the EOS R, because the EOS R is one of their best camera ever produced. If you check out the R5, the R5 have R5C, R5 Mark II. So they are trying to tell you that they made it mainly for video, they made one for picture. The R50 that they produced has a very good autofocus, that can be a little bit compared to what you have in the R5. But what they did, they end up removing hot shoe from the camera. They removed hot shoe, not because this camera cannot shoot good images, but because this camera can shoot very good images, not just good images, very good images. So they had to limit the camera by themselves to make sure when you're buying it, you now see reason to say, oh, I bought it mainly just for videos, because even the hot shoe is very hard to find. When Sony started making their line of cameras, they went through the process of making the A7 line of cameras for mainly videos and pictures, A7S for mainly videos, A7R for mainly pictures. So they had to separate them. That is not part of the cinema line. Now, when I was talking, somebody went online and the person was telling me I should check out Lumix, the Nikon. The person went online and the person was telling me about Nikon Z6 III. That was the camera that the person was telling me about. First of all, the camera has 24 megapixel. It has an improved autofocus. Nikon camera having an improved autofocus. It has a new processor. It can record 6K and it is under $2,500. $2,500 in Nigeria. I think that is already more than 3 million naira. And you are telling me it's a cheap camera, and it has a lot of limitation. Nikon has never had a very good hybrid camera that can do both video and picture until they produced that camera. It seems like the Nikon company was about to die before they produced that particular camera. So when they produced that camera, the idea of that camera was to raise the bar. So that camera can shoot 6K, but the end log from that camera is very, very bad. Then the next camera they talked about was the Lumix S1R2. It has crop when you're shooting 6K. It has crop when you're shooting 120 frame per second. It has a crop in 120 frame. Yes, it is oversampling 4K. The 4K is oversampling from 8K. It has a rolling shutter. So each of these cameras that I'm mentioning, they have a problem. Somebody talked about the Sony A1. Oga, your Sony A1, the shutter speed is limited. It has limitation in 8K. The Sony A7R5 is 61 megapixel. Automatically is a problem. For Sony set of camera, I don't know about another brand, but Sony, if you're using Sony camera, you must understand that if your megapixel is 30 megapixel, automatically the megabyte of your picture is 2 times that megapixel. So automatically this camera that has 61 megapixel, the file size is equivalent to 130 megapixel. So tell me where the perfection is coming out in any of the cameras that we are talking about. So the truth is, there is no perfect camera. Not like they cannot produce a perfect camera, but they are limiting some of the cameras so that you can go back and buy another one. For some of you, you have used your camera to the point where you are satisfied with it. The next man might just hold your camera and might be looking for just one thing. Automatically is a limitation for the next person. So there is no perfect camera. Nikon has no perfect camera. Sony has nothing. Even Canon no get. Lumix no get. Out of all of them, now Lumix they enter market. When Lumix, now Nikon they enter market. When Nikon bought the Red is when they enter the cinema line. If not, where was Nikon in the market? Now you understand why people call them potato, yam, whatever they are calling them. You must understand where those things come from. If this video cannot convince you enough, no other video on this internet can convince you to know that there is no perfect camera in the market. I don't go ask.